Are you guys concerned when you hear so many players have got brain trouble now after their careers have ended? Are you guys concerned yourselves about yourselves?
I don't worry so much about myself because, but we'll put it there. I got two sons that play, and that concerns me. But one thing that is, very encouraging is 3 weeks ago I went and saw my son play at Belmore Oval. He put his head in the wrong side. Very simple. Boom. Sort of went down. Got up and was wobbling a little bit. They took him straight off, took him down there, and he went down there for a HIA, which is an assessment, head assessment. I went down there. He was a while down there, and I said to Trish, and I never poke myself in, never go down to the sheds and that, but I said to Trish, I'm just going to duck around and just see if he's not trying to get back out there. Yeah. So I went around there, and he actually passed his assessment, but they said, do you know what, you wobbled, we're not going to let you go back out there.
No, so that's, yeah.
And for me, that's encouraging, because one thing they're finding about this, Gus, is that, like, look at the case of Billy. Like, Billy's got this really bad knock, can't remember
2 weeks of his life.
2 weeks of his life. Is the brain can regenerate, but the drama is that if you send Billy out to play the next week, then the next week, and it just compounds. And as we know, MG, from when we played, if you get a really bad concussion, I'm talking wiped out. You went in the sheds, and mate, oftentimes you're out there 10 minutes later.
They give you smelling salts.
They give you smelling salts, bring you around, and makes you so much more susceptible. I remember one stage getting about 3 concussions in consecutive weeks.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. It's the fact that you were knocked out. And old school days, smelling salts back out again. Are you concerned now that the treatment that Cooper got is not as what happened with you guys?
As I near 50 years of age, I kind of, you never really think about it until you see things like this, and you see people taking lawsuits against the game, and I don't know if that would never be me, because I agreed to play the game, but I didn't. It's kind of like smoking. We didn't know how bad smoking was for people. Now we're finding out how bad concussions are for people as well. I think if we knew this 20 years ago, we'd see a lot different the way we treated concussions. It would have been, once you got hit. I think what Matty said was right. Once you got concussed, it would be so easy to get concussed again in the same game.
Yeah,
you'd have a glancing.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. Are you concerned about your future?
Well, I went down and got tested in Melbourne about 3 or 4 years ago. I went down and got all the cognitive tests and stuff, and it showed that I was slow in a couple of ways. And
you got a 6 out of 10 from the doctor because you asked for a mark out of 10.
It's absolutely harrowing, the history, the evolution of how they came across CTE. Of course, a guy we interviewed on this show, Dr. Bennett Amalu, they made the movie Concussion about. And when he first came across it, the NFL, the powers that be there, totally denied it. And they tried at every stretch to discredit Dr. Amalu. And what it actually took, I mean, you think about this. NFL is such a massive business. It actually took all-star players, legends of the game, shooting themselves in the chest, committing suicide by shooting themselves in the chest to preserve the brain, so Bennett Amalu could do the necessary research. And this is where they found the CTE. The problem with CTE is this: yet they don't know you've got it until you're dead, because they need to cut open the brain, look inside it, and say, "Yep." What's really funny about it is in the American game. Talking to Bennett Amalu when I interviewed him at the time, and we could only fit it into a 10-minute chat. And I spoke to him about 20, 25 minutes. And what was interesting was that when he spoke to certain people around the NFL players, oftentimes players who retired, who are having trouble fitting into normal society, marriage breakdowns, relationship breakdowns, couldn't hold employment. People were saying, they're missing life in the spotlight. They miss the buzz of the game, and it'll never be the same again. And it's very much what we say about what we've said about our players in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Look at them. They just can't fit in there. These people are just missing the spotlight. And I'm going, No, I think there's more things to play, and I've got to say, Gus, and this is not being an alarmist, because what really shits me is that you come out and you say something about this. There are still people within the game that go, listen to this. Yeah, here we go. The handbags are out, and like I got up and spoke at a function about certain players, old players that played in MG's generation, just the one before me. And I'm running some of those guys now, mate, and I'm telling you now, they're hanging by a thread, some of these blokes. And when you start to talk about that, mate, I get heckled from the crowd. That's bullshit. That's mate, I played. Nothing wrong with me. People are absolutely, like, they deny it. I don't know whether it's because of fear of themselves or fear that, or they just think you've been a total alarmist, but it is actually real. And MG, yourself, you bump into a few old players that are out there.
Slurring their words.
Can't
remember it. They started a sentence, they can't remember what they were saying.
Players, even my generation, I'm seeing it now. You see some players, not all of them, some of them have gone on to be very, very successful after football, but there are some that are really struggling with life.
Do you think like this American study, do you think it's going to take until some ex-players commit their brain for testing after they're dead for us to say, okay, well, there's 20 of our legends of the game who've all gave their brain to science.
Yeah.
They've been tested. Until that happens, I don't think we're going to really get the point.
MG,
I think it's going to take that for us to lose some legends of the game, in their later years.
MG, it'll be traditional research, which the NFL had. What'll be the unfortunate passing of people of the game who will dedicate their brains.
Would you do that? Would you give your brain up for?
I don't answer. I don't know if I can answer that right now. It's a bigger decision. It's one you talk to your family about.
Yeah.
But it'll be to have a look and people will start to understand. But look, let's face it. It's not just NFL. It's not just rugby league.
Oh, it's AFL,
rugby
union.
Any body contact sport. Boxing. And you see it with people who suffer unfortunate head injuries because of car accidents, things like that.
But same in boxing, Matty. In boxing, you've got to have mandatory 60 days on the sidelines if you get it knocked out. Rugby league, you're back in 2 weeks.
The Grill Team, Gus, MG, and Matty Johns.